New cards. Forbidden Crown. Burst Protocol is the set name of the basically the set that has the rocket support in it, and we are getting slowly but surely we're getting more and more announcements out of that set. And here is a new Forbidden card, which we know have some potential. So let's see what this card does. Forbidden Crown is a quick play spell that says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. Neither player can activate monster effects in response to this card's activation. Okay, promising start. Apply these effects to one face-up monster on the field until the end of this turn. Its effects are negated. It cannot attack. It cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. It is unaffected by other cards' activated effects except its own. It cannot be tributed. It cannot be used as material for a fusion, synchro, exceeds, or link summon. Okay. So that's an interesting one. So I mean, this is obviously meant to be a board breaker, right? It's a quick play spell that you're meant to use as like a board breaker kind of utility card. It's a lot to digest. So basically the monster becomes completely unusable for the turn, but it also becomes completely unremovable from the board, except by like evenly matched or the Ruma Karma Cannon. It's a board breaker that's like better going first than going second, right? This is like, I'm thinking about it, like when I'm going second, this feels like a worse version of Forbidden Droplet. It doesn't target, which I think is also really powerful, but like it's going second is like a slightly worse version of Forbidden Droplet because you cannot apply it to multiple monsters. And also the monster you negate with it also probably means that you won't be able to like win the game this turn, right? Like let's say you target your opponent's Herald of the Arclight with this against Yummy. The Herald of the Arclight is just going to sit there in defense position and you just cannot out it anymore, right? It becomes a towers for the turn and then you have to pass, and then on your opponent's turn they have access to the Herald of the Arclight again, right? They will get access to that monster again on their turn, as opposed to something like Forbidden Droplet where you can just negate it and then just attack over it or even win the game on that turn, right? In theory, you can still win the game when you activate this card if you just target a monster in attack position that isn't that big, right? You just make like if you can make it makes up for some very interesting like situations as well, where let's say you target a freaking Yummy Snatchy with this, which has 600 attack and sits there in attack mode. It could actually open up a win condition for you where you just go and run into one monster a bunch of times. IP Masquerena, yeah, like you use this on IP Masquerena, go battle phase and just go to town on an 800 attack monster. So like the fact that it cannot be destroyed by battle might actually sometimes be a bonus, right? It might actually sometimes be a bonus. So that's good, I think. The only thing is like, compared to a Dark Ruler or a Forbidden Droplet, you cannot negate the entire board, right? Like you're just negating one monster, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I think that's still powerful enough because it's very hard to stop this. The utility of this card is outstanding though, because that is always something that I'm looking for when I'm looking at like those board breakers. Is I really like when I can main deck those cards because they have use cases going first and going second. Because of course you can use a card like Dark Ruler No More in your main deck. It's been done before. It's often even correct, but it doesn't feel good when you draw that card going first, right? And so this card is 100% main deckable because it's a quick play spell, and I'm gonna be honest with you, this card might even get better when you're going first. Like when I go first with this deck, with this card, it seems like a very strong card to set. When your opponent starts playing, just completely disabling one of their monsters, like not just negate the effect like Imperm or something, right? Like you're actually making them completely unable to use that card. The only thing that I can think of that actually like sends a monster to the graveyard that's affected by this is like they can drop it away, right? They can drop it away, but that's basically it. But other than that, this is a really powerful going first tool that also helps you break boards going second. So I think this card is actually, the more I'm thinking about it, the better it gets. And I quite like it. I mean, you can even use it as a way to like not die, right? Like if you see that your opponent has like everything, right? Like, or let's say your opponent starts their turn off with a lightning storm to pop your back row, right? And instead of this being like an imperm or a droplet that just dies to the lightning storm, you can say, okay, I will use Forbidden Crown on some random defense position monster that you have, and now that monster is at towers and unaffected and like sits there in defense mode, and your opponent just cannot win the game over it, which is interesting, right? Like that's cool. I like it because it feels very strong, but at the same time like weirdly balanced. Like all the things I'm saying are like, yeah, this card's good, but I don't think it's like insane. I like it. I think this is exactly the type of card that like makes for interesting Yu-Gi-Oh games, because it's not like Dark Ruler where you just activate it sometimes and that's like, okay, your whole board is negated. Like Dark Ruler no more isn't like versatile like that. Dark Ruler is just like in some situations against certain decks, like you just activate the card and you win the game because you negate all of the cards on their board. Whereas there's a lot more nuance to this card, which I think is cool. The survival aspect is also good, going second by using it turn 3 against the follow-up. I mean, yeah, that's something that applies in general. Like there are some Yu-Gi-Oh games where you have a better grind game than your opponent, and if you ever identify a spot like that where you're like, okay, if I can just live the next turn, I can outgrind, then you could potentially save up this card to make that happen on your opponent's next turn, right? Like you just put up a defense position monster, hold all your follow-up. Like if you get debarriered, if you get like any drolled, any lingering floodgate that are sadly still around in the TCG, and you're like, all right, well, I'm just gonna like have a monster in defense position, pass turn, apply Forbidden Crown to it. You can do whatever you want, but like I can actually play the game next turn, which I think is cool, right? Like it's a lot of versatility for just one card, right? This card destroys Sky Striker. If you apply it to a Ray, that's pretty tough, yeah. Sky Striker does have ways around it, because the way this card is worded, it says neither player can activate monster effects in response to this card's activation, which means you can still respond with a spell or a trap. While they have Ray, none of the Sky Striker quick plays can be activated, but if they have any other quick play, they can then chain the Ray after. So it's not as bad. Also, like the thing is, they can still, here's the thing, yes, their Ray is stuck on the field now, but they can pass turn and then like they can set the Widow Anchors and stuff like that, and then tag out on your turn, and then they have an open main monster zone again. So like I don't think it's like auto win. They just lock your EMZ. If you wait against Sky Striker until they put something in the EMZ, then they can't chain linkage to it, right? I mean, I think everyone understands the potential that I'm trying to portray with this card right now. I think this is a very powerful card. I think this is going to see play, but what I like about it is that it's more like it is more like a one-on-one interaction type card rather than a Dark Ruler or whatever. I find cards like Dark Ruler that attempt to basically answer everything your opponent did at once. I find that kind of boring. I don't know. I have no problem with Dark Ruler in terms of its power level. I think it's a warranted card. I just don't think it's interesting. Whereas this card really gets me thinking. Like with this card, you also have to think how to use it. I guess that's the aspect that I like, because Dark Ruler is not that hard to use. You just like slap it when you're going second. And this one is a little more, because you can just use it like a Forbidden Chalice, basically. You can use it as negate one monster effect on my opponent's turn that I really care about right now. Like negate that IP Masquerena, negate that whatever, Herald of the Arclight, just because that's what I care about. But there's so many more things you can do. You can even use it sometimes as a way to think about that. You can negate, you can save one of your monsters from a Nibiru, for example. Like when you get nibbed on a very crucial boss monster, you can make that boss monster unaffected. Like, yes, it's negated for the rest of the turn and it can't attack. So like you're just saving it for your opponent's turn, but you can do that, right? Like I like that. interesting card. I can already guess the rarity for you in the TCG. It's probably going to be a secret in Burst Protocol. Probably going to be a chase card, but a very promising quick play. All right. Next up, also from Burst Protocol, we have Red Armed Dragon, which I am particularly interested in because I just played some Armed Dragon Thunder monsters in my Dragon Ruler decks in Genesis format, which if this card is good, it could make the cut in that deck. I don't know if the Armed Dragon stuff is good enough for actual Yu-Gi-Oh, but I did like, I keep calling it actual Yu-Gi-Oh, which is like Genesis is also actual Yu-Gi-Oh, but I don't think this has a chance in the TCG, let's say it like that. But I do think there's a chance in Genesis, unless it's completely broken. Well, let's see. Threat Armed Dragon, Dragon effect, wind level 5. You can only use the first and second effect once per turn. If this card is in your grave, you can target a dragon monster you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card. Okay. You can discard one card, then target a monster on the field with 2400 or less attack, destroy it. Then if you controlled it, you can special a dragon from your hand or deck that is 2 original levels higher. You know what? That's not bad. I'm thinking of it exclusively through the lens of my Genesis Dragon Ruler deck right now, and I think I would include this in there as a one of. Because what I can do is I can discard it for like a baby ruler. It's in the graveyard now, and then I can discard a card, and then I can pop a dragon to bring it back, which is neutral in card advantage. And then I can discard a card, which if I discard one of the Armed Dragon Thunder monsters, that is technically free. Then I can destroy itself, and then because I've popped a level 5, I can summon a level 7 from my deck, which means I can basically get any Dragon Ruler that I'm missing. Like if I'm missing Tidal, I can get Tidal. If I'm missing Redox, I can get Redox. So I like that. There's probably other uses for this card. That was just the first thing that I was thinking of. Which also, all of the things I just said sound terrible in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but they seem okay in Genesis. Let me tell you, I would try this in Genesis format. You know what? That is one of the things that I like about Genesis, is because, like, if it wasn't for Genesis, I would probably be looking at this card right now, and I would tell you, like, yeah, I don't really see this being good enough. Because for modern standards, this card is just okay. It doesn't do anything crazy in modern Yu-Gi-Oh. But with Genesis format being around, I can honestly tell you, yeah, I have a use case for this card. I can see myself using this card in Genesis, and so I'm happy it exists. Which is cool. I think that's a cool thing. And now, of course, maybe there's a use for this in other decks as well. Like, this is not exclusively a Dragon Ruler card. I'm just, like, more familiar with Dragon Ruler, so that's where my mind went first. You know, some people saying, like, this might have applications in the new, like, Rocket, Dragon Link type decks that they made. Maybe. I'm not sure about that. It doesn't seem like a good enough card in those, even in those kind of decks in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, because it just isn't that good of a card. Like, this is going to be like a brick in your hand. It does nothing. It's a level 5. You're gonna have to find a way to discard it. Then you have to discard another card, and then it can float into another dragon that's 2 levels higher. Like, I just don't see that happening in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but Genesis format gives this card a home, I think, which is awesome. I like that. I'm happy about that. I'm actually excited to try it because it doesn't seem bad in Dragon Rulers.